All I think about is life, nights sipping on Sprite. Lil' Mo Green gotta get though right. Two blonde chicks wanna kiss all night. I just pray to God let the switch go right. Little arguments and the fist don't fight. Love a dog and a pig gon' bite. ASAP killer sit.
The Long Beach State men's basketball show is on the air. What's up, buddy? 49er fans? My name is Chris Sylvester, your host, here on Spreaker.com, an affiliate of National Sports, and Monday night edition of the LBSU men's basketball show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It was a tough weekend recovering from that bracket buster loss, the final bracket buster, until sometime down the road they might decide to bring it back. But Friday night, Long Beach fell to Stephen F. Austin 68-60. Disappointing game, a step back against a very good team at home for Long Beach State. We'll recap that game as well as look ahead to this crucial 3-game road trip, which includes trips to UC Irvine, UC Davis, and Pacific, as well as talking a little bit about James Ennis being nominated as a finalist for the Top Mid-Major Player of the Year award, which is the Lou Henson Award. So, lot to get to on the show today. Once again, thank you all for tuning in and making this show possible here on Spreaker.com, an affiliate of National Sports. Chris Sylvester here with you. Long Beach State, their third home loss of the season on senior night. Just a disappointing game. You really thought there was no possible way that this team, despite playing a very good Stephen F. Austin team out of the Southland Conference, was going to lose on their home floor on senior night. But it happened. Stephen F. Austin, the Lumberjacks, Danny Casper's team, came into the pyramid and really showed the 49er fans how to, not just the 49er fans, I should say the 49er players and coaches as well, what a real good mid-major team looks like. Now, I'm not discounting anything that Long Beach State has done this season, but they've gotten by in a lot of games against bad Big West opponents just by individual talent. You know, their athleticism alone helps the 49ers get by games in the Big West Conference. But you finally face a good team, another top mid-major team out there like Stephen F. Austin, who has gone into hostile environments such as Tulsa and Oklahoma already this season and won, as well as a plethora of games in the Southland Conference on the road, won most of those as well. So you finally got to see Long Beach State's athleticism and talent put to test against a team that definitely didn't have the size advantage over you and definitely wasn't as talented as you individual player-wise, but played good team basketball, played pesky defense, and ran a balanced offense, a burn offense, something we're used to seeing from, you know, Cal Poly and Joe Calero up in San Luis Obispo. But you saw a team like Stephen F. Austin, who leads the nation in opponents' points per game allowed at under 50 a game, and you also saw them only score 68 points, but shoot a miraculous 57% from the field with that burn offense, passing up open shots to burn the clock and get a higher percentage shot down low in the paint. And that's what they did all night. And the 49ers had really no answer for it the whole game. Now, there were little spurts that the 49ers went on where you thought, okay, well, you know, here they are getting off to their usual lackluster start again. And, you know, they're going to come back and in the second half, you know, eventually run away from this team just a little bit, and it'll be good enough for a victory. But I think, you know, if you're Long Beach State, you're in the midst of a conference schedule. This bracket buster game, other than possibly helping you with the seeding in the NCAA tournament and RPI-wise, really doesn't help you that much. I mean, throw in national exposure throw national exposure in there as well because the game was on the TV. But really, Long Beach State just, only lost by 8, but got schooled on their own home floor. We saw one of the most underrated big men, per se. He's only 6'6", Taylor Smith, go to work inside on the 49ers and get easy one-handed jams and putbacks. He had 15 and 8, 6 for 8 from the field, played 39 minutes. What was really the undoing of the 49ers was just the play of Smith as well as Antonio Bostic and Hal Bateman, the senior point guard. So, the 3 seniors on this team really went to work against a Long Beach team that I wouldn't say was unexperienced, but hadn't really seen a team who plays, consistent team basketball like Stephen F. Austin. And when it was all said and done, and Munson even said this in his post-game conference, it was a game of a bunch of talented individuals against a team dedicated to playing as a group. And, that was the big key in winning this game. Throw the great defense that Austin played, throw the amazing field goal percentage they shot at 57%. Throw all that out the window. If you're Long Beach State, if you play as a team, if you play complete in this game, you probably win this game. But outside of 3 Big West games, a 40-point win over Riverside, a 20-point win against Fullerton, and a 22-point win against Irvine, we have not seen this team play as a team. You saw against UC Davis, one guy. Like, we saw Kayala King against UC Davis. One guy find his way to go to work and get the team back in the game. Now, every once in a while, yeah, you got to let somebody put the team on your back. We saw Casper Ware do it multiple times throughout his career here at Long Beach State. But when Kayala King is not having an on night, other guys have to pick up the pace. And I'm not saying that James Ennis, Mike Caffey, Dan Jennings, Tony Freeland, Peter Papa George, even Dang Dang haven't all had, good games as well. That's not really what I'm trying to say here. I kind of misused my words in that last sentence. But, sometimes everybody's not going to... Sometimes not even one guy is going to have the it factor. He's not going to be able to take the game over, and he's going to need a little help from his friends, little help from his teammates. And, we saw Mike Caffey be that guy for the 49ers, but when you have one guy have a good game, scoring-wise, I should say, because Mike Caffey had 0 assists and 3 turnovers and 4 fouls. When you have one guy do all the scoring against a group of talented individuals, by the way, 4 of their starting 5 all scored in double figures, the team that has, 4 guys going to work is going to win every time. It's plain and simple. This Stephen F. Austin team, and I'm not comparing them to last year's Long Beach State team, legacy-wise or even talent-wise, but they remind you a little bit of the team. You have a bunch of savvy veterans on this group who play, team basketball, and, everybody in except for, one guy, was Jacob Parker, only played 20 minutes, was in foul trouble for most of the game. Everybody except for one guy in the starting rotation, in the starting 5 for Stephen F. Austin, scored in double figures, and that's something we saw a lot last year with Eugene Phelps, T.J. Robinson, Casper Ware, Larry Anderson, and of course, you had James Ennis as the starter last year, GP3, Greg Plater the year before. But what I'm getting to is that you you look at pretty much every aspect of this game, and it's not like Stephen F. Austin, other than in the steals category, really, and the assists category as well, which was brutal for Long Beach State. Only had 5 assists, and you're not going to win many games only having 5 assists. But other than those two stats, it's not like Stephen F. Austin just absolutely outperformed the 49ers, amazingly. It's not like this team really just took it to Long Beach State. It was more of a fact that this team was able to stay composed after a missed bucket, get back on defense, and force a turnover or force Long Beach into a bad shot. There was far too much, one-on-ones that Long Beach State didn't win because, for whatever reason, they felt like passing up their teammates. Now, I get it if you come down the court and jack up a shot every time if you're making all of them and you feel it. But just because you see a one-on-one matchup that you like doesn't mean that you have to take a shot 4 seconds into the 35-second shot clock. And when we saw that multiple times for Long Beach State, them just pull up and take a shot, Stephen F. Austin will go run down another 30 seconds, and with all that passing, Long Beach gives up after 25 seconds of defense, and they find their way into an easy bucket through the Lumberjacks. So we saw, finally, good competition since the non-conference for Long Beach State. And what do? Not much with it. You give some guys the pass on nights like this. Give James Ennis a pass because he's been remarkable for us all season long. He played 36 minutes and went 4 for 10 from the field. Peter Papageorge wasn't very effective on either side of the ball. Dan Jennings went absolutely cricket style, absolutely silent after the first half. And Tony Freeland only played 20 minutes for whatever reason. A lot of that because he was in trouble with 2 fouls in the first half. And he turned the ball over 4 times and only had 4 points. Kayala King comes off the bench, plays 20 minutes. He has 8 points. Now, don't get me wrong, and we're still kind of on topic about the game here. Don't get me wrong, Peter Papageorge has done so much for this program this season. And he's been the true leader of this team. He's hit clutch threes, has Papageorge, in his mini 2-year career here at Long Beach State. But tell me why you start him. I know it's senior night. Trust me, I know. His parents were there. I'm sure a lot of family was watching on TV if they weren't there in attendance themselves at the Walter Pyramid. But tell me why, after Kayala King has his best game in a Long Beach State uniform, you bench him just to get Papageorge in there as a senior. Now, is Papageorge a bad player? Not at all. Papageorge has made me eat my words continuously throughout the season with his fantastic play. And he didn't have such a bad game. Yes, he shot 1 for 4 from the field, 1 for 3 from beyond the arc, and perhaps was outmatched on the defensive end of the floor. But it's not the fact that Papageorge didn't play so hot. It's the fact that Coach Munson, just because it's senior night, kind of just gives this game a shrug and puts Papageorge in the starting lineup instead of Kayala King, who, like I said, was coming off of his best game as a 49er, a 22-point performance against UC Davis. I mean, even last year on senior night, you didn't see Munson start Sean Starkey or Edis Diversevic over James Ennis against UC Irvine, a game that I'm sure Long Beach would have won without James Ennis last year. Because let's not forget, Despite all that Ennis has done for Long Beach this year, he was merely the 5th option on the team last season, offensively. So I just want to know why, if you're trying to win a game like this, which certainly gives you national exposure because you're on TV, shows other mid-major programs, okay, well, Long Beach State is once again a elite mid-major team, and shows a good Stephen F. Austin team that you're not here to play around. You're here to improve your RPI and possibly get bumped up a seed or two in the NCAA tourney if you make it there come Selection Sunday. So I just want to know, despite Papa George and his great story coming in as a walk-on and, contributing a lot to this team this season, being a real leader, being a captain, I'm not discounting anything from Peter Papa George. He's become one of my favorite players to watch on this team. But you gotta play your best players in the starting lineup if you want to win. You saw once already it come back and bite Long Beach State by not starting Keala King over Peter Papa George against Cal Poly. And maybe that wasn't the reason, because if you allow 10 3-point baskets like Long Beach did up in early January at Mott Gym, you're going to lose. But I don't get it. This, like I said, this Stephen F. Austin team, they play good group ball. They play good team ball. But I just feel like Keala King, despite him playing 20 minutes, having 8 points, going 3 for 6 from the field, I feel, you give him some more minutes, you let him try and do his thing, because by the time you had Keala King in the game, you also have Dan Jennings out of the game. And, you're consistently subbing players, Keala in and out with a different group every time. That it's something that, it's harder to adjust to. You're not going to get the best play out of Keala King if you're having him come off the bench. This guy absolutely should be starting for this team, and will be starting the next 3 games for sure. But next 3 games for sure, and of course the Big West Conference tournament, and hopefully the NCAA tournament as well. But I just, I'm a big supporter. I'm a big fan per se of Coach Dan Munson. But this was a little bit of a questionable decision to not start Keala King in a game that you would have really liked to win against the bad team. And it's not a bad loss in any way, but not the best way to end your season at home. And Stephen F. Austin just came in here and got the job done. Props to them. They now are receiving a vote in the AP Top 25 voting as well. So, like I said, Long Beach did not lose to a bad team. They lost to a very good team who has a very, very outside shot at getting an at-large berth to the NCAA tournament, and will at least get there by winning their conference tournament, I do believe. They are currently in a share for the first place spot in the Southland Conference with Northwestern State. So, now after that loss, we become Stephen F. Austin fans, because if the Lumberjacks keep performing well, it makes Long Beach State look all the better. Long Beach State dropping it to Stephen F. Austin, 68-60, putting Long Beach State at 17-10 on the season. But once again, wasn't a conference game and was not a bad loss, because Stephen F. Austin had a good RPI of 80 coming into the game. When we get back, we will preview the huge game at UC Irvine. It's another senior night, but this time for the Anteaters. Can Long Beach State spoil UCI's senior night like Stephen F. Austin spoiled theirs? That and much more when we come back to the Long Beach State Men's Basketball Show here on Spreaker.com, an affiliate of National Sports.
When I pulled off the lot, that's everything in town. When you see me, you know everything. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. I put it down from the whip to my diamonds. I'm in black and yellow, black and yellow.
What's up, 49 fans? Welcome back to the Long Beach State Men's Basketball Show. Sorry about that little mute problem there. I think I had the sound system, our technician here at the studio had the sound system off for a second during the commercial break, and we apologize for not getting that back on right away. But if you haven't X'd out of this by accident, and I hope you didn't, welcome back to the Long Beach State Men's Basketball Show. Chris Sylvester here, your host. Black and yellow. We just heard it in the intro song coming back from commercial break, and well, you know, that's what we hope to be seeing a lot of come this weekend at the Brent Event Center against UC Irvine. Long Beach State needs one win or a Pacific loss to clinch their third consecutive Big West outright title. They will have the number one seed in the Big West Conference tournament if they win one more game from here on out, or Pacific loses from here on out. A very likely scenario, but this road trip will be by far, outside of, you know, the roadie to Ohio State and Syracuse, the toughest of the year for Long Beach State. Because not only do you have to fly up the coast for two of the games, you're also playing three teams who have fared not too shabby so far in Big West play. Pacific sits in second place, UCI sits in a tie for third, and UC Davis comes rolling in at fourth. So, not really that the standings scare you so much, because yeah, it is the Big West Conference. It's not a strong conference by any means. But these are three teams that, you know, have the ability to absolutely trouble Long Beach, and we've already seen Pacific and UC Davis do that. Now, we were expecting a lot better show out of UC Irvine when they came to the Walter Pyramid about a month ago, but Long Beach State just absolutely outplayed them in the second half and ended up winning that game 81-59. But Pacific and UC Davis gave Long Beach some real threats at home. You know, Pacific, we'll kind of let that game go, the Pacific game go, because that was the first game that, as a group, Tony Freeland, Keala King, Dan Jennings, and Mike Caffey and James Ennis all played together, because that was the first game that those two were eligible to play after transferring from DePaul and Arizona State. So, you know, we'll let that game somewhat be a bystander. But, you know, it was still a game where Pacific was leading by 5 at the half and battled you tough until the final seconds, and you really had to close out the game with free throws to beat the Tigers. As for UC Davis, we saw less than a week ago them come into the Pyramid and take a 9-point lead into the locker room at halftime, but, you know, Keala King got hot in the second half, and Long Beach State was able to tighten up its defense and come out with a 6-point victory. But two close victories against those two teams, you know, I mean, it's not going to get any easier when you go to their place, and especially if you play the way you did against them the first time around. Because It's one thing getting off to a slow start at home and still having the crowd behind you in the second half to push you to come back and win the game. But it's another thing when you go on the road and get off to a slow start, and then the crowd just keeps cheering and cheering and keeps pushing that team, pushing their momentum more up, and to the point where they're leading by double digits, and frankly, with the home court advantage, you're probably not going to come back and win the game in the second half. Now, are these at all really hostile college basketball environments? No, not at all. But, road games are road games, no matter where you play them in college basketball. And I don't care where you play at, road games are extremely tough to win. And these 3 games will be extremely tough for Long Beach State. And we're not going to look ahead right now to UC Davis and Pacific, because you simply just can't overlook UC Irvine and the huge game coming up on Saturday. But really just finishing up on talking about the road trip in general, you're going to have 8 days in between games. From the end of the Stephen F. Austin game to the start of the Irvine game. And let's just hope for the players' sake that they can do some soul searching, because this team needs to just come together, throw the egos out the door, throw the egos out the window. It's time to play. It's time to win. Because the scary matter of fact is that this team, this unit, James Ennis, Keala King, Peter Papageorge, Mike Caffey, Tony Freeland, Dan Jennings, Chris Gooley, as a unit, all of those players included, these are the last 3 weeks that this team will ever be playing together. And you just hope that they all realize that as much as us fans do. Because are these games going to be easy? No, not at all. But Long Beach can absolutely go 2-1, if not 3-1. 2-1, if not 3-0, here on this road trip. There's no reason they can't. But they're going to have to play team basketball, they're going to have to play disciplined basketball, and they're going to have to play with high basketball IQs. Something we haven't seen a lot of this season from the 49ers. And we're not going to know what kind of team we're going to get until we see them take the floor at Irvine on Saturday. But one thing I can tell you is that UC Irvine is going to come out fired up. It's a black and blue rivalry. Long Beach crushed you by 22 at their place earlier this season. Now it's your turn to return the favor on senior night at home. That alone, forget any student section or crowd they'll have on their side. Forget the fact that it's also another TV game. Throw all that out the window. That alone is going to have the Anteaters ready to play this game and fired up when they take the floor against Long Beach State at home. And if you see the 49ers get off to another slow start, the game might be over in 5 minutes. The score might only read something like 13-6 or 14-7. But that's just going to keep building up over time because, okay, now the crowd's behind you, and you have all that momentum rolling. It's senior night. It's the first place team in the conference. It's your black and blue rivalry. It's your crosstown rival. It's a team that you have lost, 5 straight against. 6 straight against if you're counting the conference tournament game. I mean, it's just it's mind-boggling, because it's frustrating after a while if you're Long Beach State to really have to worry about these kinds of games, because the talent and athleticism for Long Beach State is head and shoulders above every other team in the Big West Conference, yet they continue to struggle about going along and beating Big West opponents, because like I said about those 3 games earlier, outside of 3 conference games, nothing has come easy for the 49ers in Big West play, and don't expect anything to get easier going on this monumental 3-game road trip. And not often do you call a Big West road trip monumental, but we're gonna see what this team's all about, if this team's real, if this team really has a shot at getting to the NCAA tournament and competing at this point with a good team that they'll probably draw if they do. So it's all going to come down to whether or not this team is truly ready for what's ahead of them on this road trip. And if you're UC Irvine, like I said, you're going to be fired up for this game. It's senior night, last home game of the season, a chance to knock off the top team in your conference. We saw Fullerton do that last season. So, expect this to be a very tough game for Long Beach State, because Irvine is a team that knows how to play defense, they know how to rebound the basketball, and they know how to get their teammates involved. They're 23rd in the nation in rebounding and 13th in the nation in assists. Yes, these numbers were similar when they came and played Long Beach State at Long Beach, but it's a lot different when you go on the road to such an emotional environment that will be the Brent Event Center on Saturday, senior night, for the Anteaters. You just hope that, like I said earlier, the players can do some soul searching, because Coach Munson said it best. We're past, throwing the water cooler and just lighting the guys up, lighting into them. We're past that point. It's all on the players now. If they want to, keep playing this showtime individual ball and barely winning games, if not losing them, which they will if they keep playing like that on this road trip, or finally put the egos aside and come together as a group, come together as a family, as one unit, and go out there and show their true colors on this road trip, and that's winning these games, which is going to be absolutely huge for Long Beach State. All they need is one, but certainly if they do get one at Irvine, if they do get one at Irvine, very, very, very encouraging sign of hope. And it's going to be a very tough game for Long Beach State. I expect them to be an underdog as far as the Vegas line goes, but don't be too surprised if the 49ers don't come out on top. And I'll be very, very happy, very very excited, very enthused with a win at Irvine, because that'll show that this team knows how to win in a big road game, and that might come into play, if not the next game at UC Davis or 2 games after that at Pacific. That might come into play when we get to the conference tournament, and it's not exactly an away game, but it's certainly not a home. So certainly we hope that we get a good team on this road trip, and certainly we hope that we can officially clinch the Big West Conference regular season title for the 3rd time in a row, and of course a number 1 seed come time to play at the Honda Center on March 12th. When we get back, we will give some props to James Ennis. Why not? He's Long Beach's leading scorer. He's Long Beach's leading rebounder. He's a team captain. He's just been everything for the 49ers and more, and lifted them to multiple victories this season. We'll give him some praise and look at his chances at winning the Lou Henson Award, handed out to the top mid-major player in college basketball. That, and then we'll wrap up the show when we come back on the Long Beach State Men's Basketball Show here on Spreaker.com, an affiliate of National Sports. Stay with us.
Can you blow my whistle, baby, let me know. Girl, I'm gonna show you how to do it, and we start real slow. You just put your lips together and you come real close. Can you blow my whistle, baby, here we go.
Welcome back, 49er fans, to the final segment of this Long Beach State Men's Basketball Show on air here on Spreaker.com, an affiliate of National Sports. My name is Chris Sylvester, your host as always. Once again, thanks for tuning into the show. The 25 finalists for the 2013 Lou Henson Award were announced Monday. The award is presented annually to the top mid-major player in college basketball, and our own James Ennis has been named a finalist. He is the only player from the Big West Conference to be named a finalist. He is currently riding a 32-game double-digit scoring streak. He has had 6 double-doubles this season and 7 games above 20 points for the 49ers. He's averaging 17.5 points per game, 6.7 rebounds per game, and he's shooting 84% from the free throw line. For the second straight year, College Insider is working with .3 Basketball to promote the Lou Henson Award fan vote, which will constitute 33% of the final vote. The Lou Henson Award is presented annually to the top mid-major player in Division I college basketball. The award is in memory and is named in honor of Lou Henson, who retired after a spectacular coaching career that lasted 41 years. He was the coach at Illinois, and then later in his career at New Mexico State. We all remember New Mexico State from their days in the Big West Conference in the early 90s, being a foe of Long Beach State back then. Other notables as far as mid-major players that you might know: Nate Walters, the fantastic senior from South Dakota State; Taylor Smith, who we just saw for Stephen F. Austin, he's on there; Doug McDermott, who's possibly the best mid-major player in the country, at least he has been the last couple of seasons, the 6'8 junior from Creighton. We might see him next year when Creighton comes to the mid. We're not sure if he's going to enter the draft or stay another year. Momo Jones, senior at Iowa; Tyler Haws, BYU; Matthew Dellavedova, the fantastic 6'4 senior from St. Mary's; Will Cherry, who we saw a couple of times when we played Montana back-to-back years, 6'1 senior for the Grizzlies; Isaiah Cannon, a 6'1 senior from Murray State; and of course Travis Bader, a 6'5 junior from Oakland, dropped 47 points earlier in a game this season. So a lot of tough players to compete with if you're James Ennis on that list, but you know, just being mentioned with those names alone is a real honor for a kid who, you know, out of high school went to junior college and was picked up by Long Beach State. Always had academic issues, and but as Coach Munson said in the senior game, little conference thing, little ceremony after the loss against Stephen F. Austin, when he had the mic for a second on the PA system, he said, you know, James is on task, is on pace to get his degree. So that's certainly encouraging news for James Ennis, and certainly this is at well. Now, you know, on the chances of Ennis winning this, I wouldn't say that they're out of reach, but I just say that it's going to be very difficult for him to win this because, you know, you heard all the names right there. Those are more highly publicized names, and the fact that 33% of the vote is decided by the fan, you know, those, I'm not going to criticize anybody here, but, you know, us Southern California fans, we're not exactly going to be, you know, voting throughout the day for James Ennis, and, you know, of course, James Ennis is going to have to show a little bit more as the season ends here if he really wants to win this award, and I'm sure he's going to be nominated for a few other awards as well. I mean, for goodness sake, 17.5 points per game, 6.7 rebounds per game, shooting 84% from the free throw line, 32 consecutive games in double digits. You know, he's going to be an All-American candidate as well, but, you know, the fact that there's so many other good mid-major players, it's going to be really tough for James to win this award. And, you know, you throw in the fact, like I said, with the fan votes, us typical Southern California fans, and you know, the diehard fans out in the Midwest who college basketball is their life, sports is their life. There's not much to do outside of that in some of those Midwestern states. So, you know, I'm not trying to criticize anybody there, but that's the truth when it comes to stuff like this. But certainly, we wish the best of luck to James Ennis, and really on top, we just congratulate James, because it's a tremendous honor, like I said, to be listed as one of the 25 finalists for that fantastic award. So once again, congratulations to James Ennis. He, as well as the rest of the 49ers, we wish them the best of luck on their upcoming road trip, and you know, hopefully the next time I'm talking to you guys, we will have gotten a nice little victory at the Brent Event Center on Saturday against UC Irvine, 4 p.m. game, prime ticket. Fun fact, rest of the 49er games from here on out, regardless, are going to be on TV. You have the UCI game Saturday, 4 p.m. prime ticket. The UC Davis game Thursday, 7 p.m. start, I do believe, on ESPN2. And then you have the Pacific game, 5 o'clock start time on prime ticket. Pacific, of course, playing their last game at home. Coach Thomason's last game at home, and senior night at home against Pacific up at the Alex Spanos Center in Stockton, California to close out the season. And then you have Fox Sports carrying the first round of the Big West Conference tournament, and you have ESPNU carrying the semifinals, and ESPN2, I do believe, will be carrying the finals. And then, you know, if you're Long Beach State, it's NIT or NCAA tournament for you. Obviously, the NCAA tournament games will be on national TV. NIT games will be as well. So, if you're a Long Beach State fan and, you know, you're sad about not being able to get out to the Pyramid anymore, well, you're still going to get to see your 49ers on the tube. Once again, you've been listening to the Long Beach State Men's Basketball Show here on Spreaker.com. Thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in. My name has been Chris Sylvester, still is Chris Sylvester, and it will be next show as well. Hopefully we're talking about a 49er W. God bless 49er fans, and let's go Beach.
Oppan Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. 낮에는 따사로운 인간적인 여자, 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는 품격 있는 여자, 밤이 오면 심장이 뜨거워지는 여자, 그런 반전 있는 여자.